how are you able to redirect from price when somebody calls? Because I think people just inherently ask that question, like, how much is this? How do you spin that? How do you redirect that on the phone?
So that really is a question that is a hard one to answer and an easy one to answer. And the hard part is that when they call me, if their first question is about price, I don't know, because I don't know who their child is. I don't know what they want to do for their session. I don't know what their desires are for what they want for their home. And so what I naturally would try to do is first try to speak to them and see what their family is like, how much they want for their child. They would want something really simple. Do they want something more complicated? And that's what I tell them. I tell them, oh, tell me about your child, and then I'll be able to answer your questions. And then as they do ask about price, of course, you want to be transparent and forthcoming and make sure that they have all the information that they need. But if it's only about price, then we're missing an opportunity. And so we usually try and establish at least what they love, what they want, before we have to speak about that.
Right. So in a scenario, I'm just going to role play with you a little bit here, because I think what you said, Michele, is amazing, but people get nervous, you know, and they'll revert back to, you know, if somebody says, well, how much is this, you know, freeze point, and then maybe saying the wrong thing. If you're having that discussion with somebody and you pose the question back to them and say, well, maybe not the tell me about your child, because they'll be able to do that, but if you say, like, what were you thinking, you know, for your family? Are you looking at an album? Are you looking at wall art? Like, how do you handle that if somebody says, well, I don't know?
Well, I probably wouldn't phrase what were you thinking, because I would probably want to ask them more of a leading question, like, do you love, or we have beautiful books. You know, I'll talk to them about that. And then I'll tell them, you know, that the books are gorgeous, they're archival, they're handmade, they're a wonderful keepsake piece, you know, it'll be passed down through their family. And then normally when I do quote them price, I will quote them for our more expensive products first. And then I'll say, we have the same beautiful book and it comes in different sizes, and then I'll quote them for a larger amount and then trickle on down, you know, to smaller. And then I also tell them that families come to us and that we work with their particular budget, you know, so that I try and make it possible for them so that they're not nervous about it. But this is usually an addendum to the conversation. It is not the main part of the conversation. It takes a few minutes and you do have to give them the nuts and bolts information. But normally you can enjoy a conversation with a client and you can establish a little bit of rapport with them before you have to speak about price. And then it's not, I'm quoting you, I'm reading from you, but I'm asking you what you like, you're giving me feedback, you know, and then I'm able to answer your questions.
Right, that's awesome, I love that. I would love to have a recording of you on a call, you know, and to hear, because you're so sincere, and like I'm sitting here and nodding, I'll go right along with you because your voice is so calm and kind, you know, and that's wonderful. You're being a very good advocate for the business and for the senior, which is amazing. And I'm sure that people understand that, can understand that tone, you know, in your voice. So I'm gonna go out of order just a little bit here. For those conversations, and you guys can both chime in on this, is that completely organic for the conversations on the phones, or is it something that is somewhat scripted that you go off of, or how does that work? Because I know a lot of times, and I'm going to pause for just a second here before I let you answer that, a lot of times people are focusing on text marketing, book me through my website, getting an email for this. You guys really, you go the opposite way. You're on the phone. You're connecting in a personal manner. So now we can go back to my question about, is that an organic, 100% organic conversation, or how are you getting the nuts and bolts that you need?
So it's a goal-oriented conversation.
I love that.
I'm
going to steal that from you.
Yeah, right.
So we do not have a script, but we have goals. And our goals are to speak to the moms to see how they're feeling about their child and what they think. We always ask them what they are most proud of about their children. We ask them, are they funny? Are they studious? Are they, techie? And what their style is, and then we also have a goal to find out how the child fits into the family, and then the goal of the senior, do they have things that they want from their photo shoot? So there's certain information we know that we have to impart, and certain information that we know that we would like to receive from our clients. And so we speak in such a way as to achieve the goals, hopefully, without going with a script. And also these things can happen out of order, depending on what the client is, we have to mirror back to them, so if they're concerned about one thing or another, then we're going to talk about that first with them. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of think it's got a couple main objectives. The first thing that we, like Michelle was speaking about, if they're trying to ask about price, we immediately shift the conversation to about them, their family, their senior, whoever it is that we're photographing, why we're photographing them. And then we, if it's a high school senior, we ask about the relationships in the family, their relationship with their child primarily, that of the dad. We try to get the dad's information. Always, can I get his cell phone number, so we can have that conversation with him. When's a good time to talk to the senior? If they're there, a lot of times we'll get them to at least chime in, at least at some point in the conversation. And then we also always ask them, where is it that you want to hang your wall portrait or your wall portraits in your home? We assume that they always want them because they're the best,
Right?
right?
Why wouldn't they?
We get them from the best company. And so we try to anchor that with a piece of furniture. Where in your home could you see that going? Where can you visualize your kid that you love so much, that has been, doing this their whole life and that is a very studious child? Where can you see them, being on your wall? How can you see that looking? Right. You know what I mean? So we're visualizing it. Yeah. We're emotionally connecting to our client the entire time.